Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. First thing I want to say is that we have live interpretation available. Si alguien necesita traducción, tenemos traducción en español. All right. We are very excited to share with you all a update on the Pickering school building process. I think a lot of you are members of the Pickering school community. We have some neighbors, community members as well. But for those of you who know the Pickering facility, you know that this is a desperately needed upgrade in terms of the facilities that is coming, and that's true for the Pickering community, but also for the public schools community as a whole. This building to offer the students, the educators, the families of the entire city of helping to accomplish our educational goals. And so a lot of work and effort has gone into getting us to this point, to find a suitable site that works in a city that doesn't have a lot of available tools, creating a design that we think is feasible and fits with our goals for the educational goal of the facility, being able to line up the funding and working with our state partners to be able to afford what's a very large investment that we're making. And so I want to thank everyone that's been involved so far. We have a great school building committee. Some committee members are here. Great support from the school committee and state council and state delegation, as well as the public schools and then the Lynn team as well. So project partners. Thank you all for your help. Thank you for message tonight. We are excited about the end state and where this will be, and we also really want to get the process right, the journey to get there right, to make this a success, not just when the building is done, but throughout, and then we working really closely with our neighbors and the folks that are going to be experiencing the construction, because we want to honor those experiences and also make this a win for everyone in terms of what it's going to be at, even if you're not ultimately going to be in the facility when it's open. So we have a team that's working hard to try to figure out how to manage this in such a way that it is livable for all of us that are going to be experiencing the construction, and we look forward to offering detail on that tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Nicholson. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming, both in person as well as the folks who are tuning in online. Thank you, LCTV, for coming to record this. That will help get the message out. I'd like to kick things off with a quick introduction of everyone who's up here. So everyone knows Mayor Nicholson. Maybe we'll start with Deb.
Hi, I'm Deb Ruggiero. I'm the Deputy Superintendent of Lynn Public Schools.
Thank you, Deb. I'm Craig DiCarlo with Left Field. We're the owner's project manager on this project. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. So tonight we're really here to answer your questions about this upcoming construction project. To do that, we've got a 30-minute presentation, which will hopefully answer some of the questions. And then we've got the remaining 30 minutes, we'll have an open mic. Anyone who's got questions can come up, line up if there are multiple people with questions, and we'll do our best to answer them here. If we're unable to answer them here, we also have a project website with a frequently asked questions tab. And so we'll take anything that we hear tonight, we'll type it up, we'll put it on there along with answers as well. So when your coworkers, classmates, neighbors have questions about the project, you can also help us out by pointing them to the website, and we'll show you that web address at the end. I'd like to state that, to acknowledge that any construction project that happens on an occupied site, which is what we got here, is naturally going to have some disruption. But the team here, between Consigli, RDA, myself, and the school and city, our goal is to minimize those disruptions. And so what we want to show you is some of the planning that's gone in thus far, and let you know what to expect as the project moves forward. So on the screen here is our schedule. So we can see the project started back in 2022. And from that time until now, it's been mostly design work. That vertical red line, I know it's tough to see on that screen over there, but the vertical red line is where we are today in April. And the blue bar is construction. So you can see we're a couple months away from construction beginning. So it's a very exciting time and sort of the perfect moment to share some of this information with you. And to kick things off, I'd like to hand things over to Stephen from RDA.
Thank you, Greg. So if you're here with us tonight, you're familiar with school, you're a parent, teacher, community member. We just want to orient you with some of the upcoming slides. And what you're looking at here is the school site. North is up on the screen. And the school site consists of the existing Pickering school on the left-hand side, the Sisson school, which extends along the center north of the school site, and then Magnolia Park to the south. It's fronted by Magnolia Ave, the east, Nova, to the north, and Broadway to the west. And Brandon will be sharing some other slides similar to that, so just everyone. Again, this is kind of a bird's eye view looking at some windows, both of the existing school complex, the Pickering and Sisson school, which is kind of shown in a brick rendering over on the left-hand side of the page. And then what you're also seeing is a three-dimensional view of the new Pickering middle school, slated west east of the existing Sisson school. You can see the access to this new building is from Magnolia area. And we'll show some other slides about traffic circulation, pedestrian circulation, eventually, but there's a new pedestrian and vehicular circulation off of Magnolia. It's a one-way, excuse me. And a new parking lot created on Magnolia Field along with the pocket park.
David,
Been some concern about the audio. Maybe talk louder or a little closer. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can pull it right up.
Everyone hear me okay? So again, this is getting a little bit closer to the three-dimensional view of the school with some outdoor learning space. System is over there on the left-hand side of the page. So this is kind of nestled in the east of the Sisson school. You can see the entrance drive up off on the right-hand side that allows people to drop off and pick up from the school before moving back around.
All right, so we're gonna jump into the construction and of all our vendors, the contractors, construction vehicles for the project. So you'll see right here our plans to direct all traffic from Linfield Street to Broadway Street to Magnolia Ave. The idea is basically keep everyone out of that neighborhood, keep them on the normal Ave where the school has bus drop off and such that will touch on later. But you want to keep them as streamlined as possible, getting into the city and out. Minimize the impact.
So Consigli's prepared a series of plans that show the major steps in the construction process, and we call them logistics plans. But what we've done is we've highlighted some of the key features that typically are on the minds of people who are either living near or using the school during construction. So we've got, I don't know how well it's showing up over there, but we've highlighted the drop-off and pickup area in this teal blue, which is remaining as it is during construction. Play areas we are highlighting with this orange box. Then we've got staff and visitor parking, which much of it will remain, but some will be moved around. In the blue, we've got the construction, the primary construction entrance and exit, as Brandon was mentioning, will be off of Magnolia. Those are the yellow circles with arrows. And then the construction fence is in red, which is the primary divider between the construction area and the student area. And so now Brandon will walk us through the big timelines or big chunks of time in the project.
So what you see on the screen here is our initial phase, starting at the end of May or beginning of June of this year, while school is still in session, is we do have some work we can begin behind the existing Sisson building to create a ramp and stair system, and then what will be the new hard clay surface area. So you see on the screen, highlighting in red is our site fence, so that's keeping the project separate from the active school at all times over here. Again, as Craig mentioned, our highlighted entrance and exit keep us off coming in off Magnolia Ave. The existing play area, hard surface play area is still remaining use this school year throughout the end of the year. And then the parking that's being worked on that you guys will have access to for staff, teachers, to ensure that we maintain or increase the amount of space that you have now, so we don't take away from that for the job.
And then Brandon, you also mentioned that, or I'll mention, so there's a municipal parking lot behind the Wyoma Square businesses that the city is going to reserve a certain number of those for visitor and staff parking. And so it'll be a short walk behind the Little League field to get to the school, so that parking isn't too constricted during construction.
The next phase here you see on the screen is going to take place once school ends. So at the end of June, we're going to take over the rest of the area that the project's going to take place on. That includes the existing hard surface play area where the new building will sit. That'll be the original, the future footprint of that building. We're going to take down the existing modulars. Steve will go through a little later on of what that looks like, how are they replacing the space within the school that you have now with those new classrooms that exist. You see still the parking spaces remain for whatever activities happen here throughout the summer. Take over those parking spaces that exist on the west side of the school. The next slide is as we get into next school year, we finish the work that we have this summer at the back side of Sisson. We provided a new accessible exit out of the south side of the building. We're turning over a temporary hard surface play area that's intended to be the same size of the space you have now. So you have somewhere to go while we take over that the end of this school year. You'll see again the same highlighted parking areas, maintaining that for all the staff. And then pick up and drop off of the bus intended to remain as it is right now with us not competing on the level. So the next phase that you're seeing on the screen here, pretty much a continuation. We're going to stay within the exact same footprint that we have with the red site fence, work within those parameters. There are a handful of scopes of work that exist outside of that. Our job will be to make sure that's coordinated during the summer. This will work on the parking lots for facilities and such, but we will ensure that that does not happen while school is in session.
And so then what we're seeing here is the finished product. So towards the end of 2026, project will be complete. It includes, as Stephen was mentioning, a new drop-off and pickup area for the Pickering students in front of the school. The drop-off and pickup area for Sisson remains as it is over here on Konomo. We've got that play area that will now be finished. And then we've got a new parking area with a loop road that comes off of Magnolia, around the parking, and then back onto Magnolia. So that'll be the finished traffic pattern.
So this slide is here to highlight the special considerations we took into place as we created this project. So as I mentioned earlier, we're trying to minimize any impact of the current school programming, how bus drop-off works, parent drop-off, pickup, so that's why we're staying on, a normal. Maintain that entrance and exit, that's all they have. Our typical job site hours are from 7 to 3, and you have no planned deliveries during bus. So what we've done, working on minimizing that trucks. And then another highlight here is the separation of student teacher with the construction. So maintaining our site perimeter fencing, our separate entryway, there's no easy way that students and our staff members are going to be in. I do want to highlight every time someone comes on our job. We set our expectations, not just other work, but also. So it's very important to us, to a lot of work in schools that are active, making sure that you give appropriate resources to your kids, yourself, as staff, so that they can keep in for our team to continue to monitor and develop a high level of respect for them.
As many of you are aware, there are other construction projects going on in the city at the same time. Notably, we've got some road work happening on Broadway, and then also some on Linfield Street. So once Consigli starts construction activities, this project team, as well as those roadwork project teams, will coordinate to make sure that we're working in harmony with each other. Something that will help is that all of their operations will be on the roadways, and almost all of our operations will be within Consigli's fenced construction area. So there's not a whole lot of overlap or concern of whole roadways getting shut down. But we will keep that communication going so that we ensure the two projects aren't doing a major operation that would unduly affect the neighborhood. And then just a couple notes. So the Linfield Street project is anticipated to be complete in June of 2025. And then the Broadway project is anticipated to begin in early May. Now, Stephen will walk you through what's happening on the interior of the building to prepare for those modulars coming down.
So we've shown you site plans for the image, just to confuse you, we rotated the image to 180 degrees. So now what we're looking at is Sisson is over on the left-hand side in yellow. Those are the Sisson education spaces as they exist today. And in blue are the Pickering Middle School education spaces as they exist today. You'll notice that in green, we're highlighting some work that is occurring to provide some temporary spaces, what we call move management logistics, in order to enable the construction work that we've been talking about. As Brandon mentioned, the modular classroom is going to be moved, but prior to it being moved, we need to make sure that their spaces, which is to support classrooms in an office, have somewhere to go. So what this plan is showing, and this work is already underway behind me, on some underused spaces off the gym here and also in the auditorium. Some temporary construction that's occurring to create proper educational spaces, temporary spaces, to relocate those modular classroom uses. So at the top there off the gym, you can see there's 2 temporary classrooms being built. That's behind me here in the gymnasium. And then over in the auditorium, there's 3 new spaces consisting of 2 classrooms and 1 office. And this is all under construction. The next page is really the second floor of the school, and really showing nothing's happening for part of this move management strategy. There's no change in stuff. The next page is showing what the school will look like when children.
Still the same audio.
Oh,
It worked better. Yeah.
Sorry. My voice is going to. So this slide is showing what the school is going to look like when students return to school in September 2024. So again, the yellow spaces are the Sisson Elementary School. You can see over on the left-hand side, the modular has been removed. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 spaces there that will be pulled out of the modular before it's removed. And in the middle of the page, you see some dark yellow spaces. Those are temporary classrooms. You can also see there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, 4 classrooms and 1 office. They're taking over some unused space, but they're also moving into the classrooms that are currently utilized by the students. That's number 3 and 4. Those 3 and 4 that are currently used by Pickering Middle School are going to move into the 2 new classrooms that are being constructed in the auditorium. So those are also noted as 3 and 4, and number 5 for an office space. So again, we're not losing any educational spaces by the removal of the and also shown here are maintaining exits. There will be some modifications to any exits as you see here. The modular is gone and the construction activities off of the end of any of the system and weighing as random at the previously. So there's no intermediate or exiting the construction. And on the second floor, this is really to show that there's no change in the second. Programmatically use what we're going into management inside the building.
As I mentioned earlier, we do have a project website where this presentation, as well as all the presentations, live. And we have a YouTube channel. And then, of course, these videos will be available on LCTV. Spread the word. And now we'd like to open things up to you for any questions or concerns you may have. As I mentioned earlier, the microphone up here is the best way. Come on up, that way the folks at home can hear the question and answer. What do you got? Hello.
Can you?
One of the couple of questions that we talked about during our lunch break here is emergency exits during construction. We have mandated fire drills, lockdown drills, and so on. I hope that the fire drill evacuation practices. How are those going to roll out?
You want to take this one?
So in the diagram where it showed Sisson School and the exits and how they're adjusting the exits, we would certainly need to practice those exits. There are some classrooms that, especially those at the end of the building where the modular is, every classroom in Lynn Public Schools has to have an alternate exit, right? We have a primary evacuation exit and we have an alternate. That's what we're all supposed to have. So we would want to look at that plan and see what are the alternate exits and make sure that we can accommodate that. But that will absolutely be part of the safety plan when we get into that phase.
We have a special education teacher, many of our students come on special education classes. Transportation in front of our building for safe drop off and pick up is always an ongoing concern without this construction project. Pickering starts school at 7:45 a.m. Sisson also starts school at 7:00. We release at 1:45, Pickering releases at 2:30. The amount of volume of traffic on the street, just again on a regular day, is very difficult and not always see the children or staff and so on and so forth. Would it ever be considered for would it ever be considered to stagger the start times?
It's definitely something we are thinking about. There's a whole process that has to happen in order for that to happen. Feedback from staff, feedback from families. And so that's something we have to talk through further before any final decision. School committee has to be involved. There's a lot of a process that has to happen, but it absolutely is something that we have thought about. But we're trying to figure out, can transportation support that? Because there's a whole bus schedule for all schools. It may not be feasible for transportation. You know, we want to look at what would the options potentially be if we could do it. So there's a whole process that has to happen.
Have been very helpful. Corey, who is a in the afternoon, he has been very helpful since we started here.
Understandably so, and part of the rationale of the construction entrance and exit being on Magnolia was to avoid making anything worse or more challenging than it is. So the construction project, while we hear, you know, things can always improve, the construction project shouldn't be making things any worse.
Once we know that the bigger entrance is going on the side of the wall.
Yes, exactly. So the end of the project does resolve that.
North to be on that side of the field. Will be
I just need to share with the online families what the two questions were because they were having a hard time carrying on. The first question that was asked for those on the webinar was around emergency evacuation and making sure that the new exits, that we know what's safe for our students and our staff when we're doing evacuations. And it was shared that all classrooms are supposed to have an alternate exit. And that certainly for Sisson School, this will be something we will be looking at and making sure that all classrooms have a safe exit and an alternate exit like we would for any school year. The second question was around the consideration of a staggered start of Pickering and Sisson due to the traffic patterns and the difficulty in buses trying to drop off and families trying to drop off. And my response was, there's a whole process that has to happen for that. And that certainly we have thought about that. And there's a lot of steps we would need to take with school committee, with transportation, with family input, with staff input. And therefore I need to speak to the superintendent around taking possibly that step to start looking at, is that an option? Use your teacher voice.
So I live on Magnolia, construction street. So I was wondering, you said you're going to try to minimize. I wanted to add something. A lot of parents are coming home and walk across the park to come to school because of so much traffic. So I think it's going to push those people that are parking on that one to come. So staggering the time is probably going to help, but it's also something to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm being Murphy, I'm not a parent. I apologize, I have two questions. The first being the temporary play space that would be behind the school during construction was the fact that the tennis courts are gym. Was that amount of space needed in consideration? Will there be enough space for the rooms at the end of gym?
The amount of space was talked about in our goal. That new piece that's gonna come should match what's already there. Very close to it, so depending on how the school wants to use it, it should have a similar amount of space.
And my other question is about Magnolia Park, Magnolia Field. What, if any, public access will there be to Magnolia Park, Magnolia Field during construction, and when construction is done, will there?
So we will eliminate public access during construction for the duration of the project. Part of the construction. And then the last rendering we showed, which shows what that looks like in the end. A lot of that portion becomes the new parking and traffic circulation, but there is a playground and basketball court going in closer to the end here in Magnolia that is currently on the Magnolia.
I do have a question from someone online. Will there be blasting where the new school is going? It's going to be very close to all houses. So there's a concern about possible blasting.
We had this department planning, help and lead us think.
Hi. My name is Jessica Kay. I'm a parent as well as a Sisson PTO president. I've got 3 kids in Sisson, so I'm very excited about this project. Probably like 2 of them end up at the school, but very exciting. It looks awesome. Thank you for being here tonight as well. So parents, super excited. For PTO, obviously for Sisson, there's a few little things that I have a question about. We always have our annual field day, June 6th, that's what we have it at school this year, for rain day of June 7th. Now, it looks like if you back up to I have the early one from midday to mid-June. It looks like we'll still have, our parking lot and tennis courts, am I correct on that? So June 6th, we should still have access to our entire system lot, including the tennis courts as well?
That's good.
Okay, so that's huge. I know that at that point, it looks like we obviously lose the playground, we lose the kickball field that we have right there. And then the field, pretty much everything beyond the back of Sisson, like that access road. Again, beyond that is going to be fenced off at that point, right? Okay, so we'll have to, if we're not gonna have to jump and become a little, creative, I think, but at first we weren't even sure if we were gonna have the parking lot in it. So we'll have to play around with that and hopefully we can get creative with some parents stuff. But I appreciate it. I think that was the only question I'm starting to see this year at least. And hopefully we can have some of these meetings next year maybe. I know that it's definitely something that's extremely helpful. All the parents will come in the mail. I have really like the field day consists of, I'm not really sure what's happening with the construction, but the maps that are on the website and keeping updated on that, I think that's great. I'm gonna start including some of your links with my agendas, everyone, for the Sisson PTO. So hopefully, we can keep communication open and hopefully people just, keep going to the website and we can keep going. So I'm very excited for it.
Thank you very much.
Just picking up on that last point, we'll wait to see if there's any questions. I think it's a really great point, the idea and the goal of keeping the communication going. This is a hugely exciting project that I think the whole city is excited about. It's also just a large project. Incredibly complex, and we want to share as much information as we can, because I think a lot of questions we can answer. It's all just a we should be going to the website. There's everything there, but we want to work with the folks that need the information about how to get it in folks' hands in a way that is accessible and really answers the question. So we will continue to work to proactively share information and meetings like this and help with the website and so forth. The Pickering School Building Committee meets regularly and but if there are questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to my office. I think for faculty and staff, parents, consider for Pickering. I know that your principals are here and available. And if you could always reach out to us, sometimes the quickest way to a resolution for school issues, you can directly do that parent, that principal, that can, has a direct line to administration to us. So, the overall, I'm sure with the other questions that come up, and definitely encourage you to share those with share that information and advance this really exciting.
And I think I mentioned at the beginning, but I'll restate, there is a contact us button on the website. So if you do have a general question about the project, that comes to me and a few of my colleagues, and we will either answer it right away, or we'll circulate it to the right people who can give us the best answer, and then we'll post it. We can email you and then also post it in the frequently asked questions. Absolutely. End of project?
Nice and loud and, sorry. Teacher voice, come on.
One, is that also going to be a public play area community? Maybe the children are like, you know, it's gonna be like gated and locked, like how?
It's a public, area. If anyone's followed the Article 97 process, we had to take public parkland and return some to another location, but there's basketball court in the area that's included as part of the public area, not school property.
And the other part is, we also should always have a lot of opinions about everything. We'll be consulting with some of the staff members here at Pickering and some parents, about what we think we could benefit from in the design of that, or the choice of whatever we have planned for that park area, but we haven't input.
We already had some user meetings.
I'm not sure that we have, but it's something that we should plan on doing. You talked about, just to be clear, the Pocket Community Park, the new hardscape play area behind the system.
Any area that is going to.
For Sisson. So, yes.
Okay. Will be fenced in.
I think there's fencing on 3 sides except for that middle of this. So it kind of creates an alleyway, so it'll be more of an area. So there will be fencing around the outside here. And then there'll be the integrated gates preventing any traffic, so from 50 safe during the day. But there's no, but this is still open. Yeah.
So for the folks at home, Brandon just explained that there will be the Sisson play area will have fencing on 3 sides. And then there will be gates to prevent vehicular access when students are in there, but that can be opened up for emergencies or maintenance.
I have a couple of questions online. Which Sisson grades or classes will be in those 4 temporary classrooms in Pickering? Knew that was going to be a hot question. As you know, the principal position has been posted, and interviews will be happening in the next couple of weeks. That person would be important to be part of those conversations. I have shared, in my opinion, older students should go into the Pickering building versus the youngest students, and that the office space be utilized with an administrator. So program specialist, in my opinion, would be in the office space, so that any transferring from Pickering to Sisson would be assisted with an administrator. But those final decisions have not been made. There's a new administrator coming in, a new leader of the building at some point soon, and we would want to have teacher input on it. So those final decisions have not been made. Another question was around dropping off. They say they can only hear me. For those of us remote, it has not been helpful, other than Deb repeating some of the earlier questions. If we are going to offer remote connectivity, let's please try to make it work so that we can all actually hear the speakers. Can we look into posting the meeting notes? Just for your reference, this is being recorded, and will be posted on the Pickering building website. So you'll be able to hear more clearly all of the information that's been shared. And I'm not sure what this question means. Is there no way to disrupt the Sisson students to that extent? Oh, unfortunately, I don't know if any of you want to share. I think the modular.
So the design team did look at, or the whole project team looked at many iterations of how this project could be done, how it could fit on the site. And this was the best balance. And so it does involve that disruption, which is unfortunate, but my understanding is those modules are actually quite old, and modulars are not meant to be used permanently. So it's sort of two birds, one stone, taking down the old and then replacing with new. So I guess that doesn't really answer the question.
I mean, I'll add to that, I mean, to Craig's point, any construction, major construction is difficult and is disruptive. But I think all of us need to think of the bigger picture. One, we are in dire need of a new middle school. And two, Sisson School is an elementary school that does not have the amenities that some of the other elementary schools have. They do not have their own gym. They do not have their own cafeteria. They do not have you know, an auditorium that they could have events at. And down the road, although it's not going to impact the current Sisson children, in the future, down the road, Sisson school students and families will have the benefit of having other amenities added to Sisson once the new Pickering is built. There was also a question about the parkland and replacing the park. And it was shared about the Article 97 approval. What you take, you have to replace. One of the plans is to replace off of Parkland Ave, is that right? You want to share that?
Yeah, so in the Article 97 process, whatever land we're using for the school that we're taking out of parkland, we're replacing at least that and more in terms of the city's parkland. So some of that will be here, but a large part of it will be on Parkland Ave next to in the city, next to the dump there. The salt shed is that would be a
Anything else? Anything else online?
What is the noise mitigation for students at Sisson?
Great question. Brandon, do you want to talk about around the fencing?
Yeah, so in terms of the students in Sisson, there are going to be loud activities that are tough to do. With our start time of this project being towards the end of the year, the goal is that noisier psychiatric work is done in the summer months. Some of that noise is obviously unavoidable when everyone comes back for the next school year. We will be working on the foundation. That will be going to allow stuff to steel. Start to the state of the building on. It's not going to decide. We just want to make sure we're all on the same page. But we are really encouraging to have some noise mitigation. And on all the fencing that abuts the neighbor's property helps absorb any sort of noise that you put here, try to mitigate that impacts that we're having on you throughout the day.
Anything else? I just want to thank you again all for coming out, and for the folks who tuned in online. I think this was great, very helpful for me, and I will certainly add all these thoughts and ideas and comments to the website so that other people can benefit from them as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for coming out and for sharing. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
For running the double duty.
Yeah. Yes.
So we have a set office in like a tiny little breezeway. And we weren't sure if it was gonna become an elevator or not, like we couldn't figure it out. If we need to figure out a new place for people, especially with that.
Steve, that,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lift that's going in? It's a lift, it's not an elevator.
Yeah, there's a new lift going in. I'm not the person to answer that. I'm not familiar with the plans, but somebody in my office. Sure, that's good. Okay.
You could, I think we've got. So I guess the confusion is that they're doing. Depending on where the elevator goes, it's going to disrupt it. So we don't know. But someone said it's going to be there, which is a closet that would impact infectious plans, but in the hallway, it would. We just-
I'll find out. Because the upstairs, there's kind of like an old hallway that's pretty nice.
That's our office. There's 4 of us there.
Yeah.
And we wanted, yes,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
said we were here. So we just
Thought it
wanted.
was a closet.
Yeah, it's 4 of us. Like, we were-
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
But I was just like, we're trying to figure out. Or if we need to ask Pickering to work.
I'm right there.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.